All day, you hold it together, smiling, talking, functioning, but then night comes, and suddenly, you're not okay. The world gets quiet, and your thoughts get loud. Why does the pain wait for the darkness? Maybe because, at night, your mask slips, and your mind finally whispers, I'm not fine. Tonight, we're not running from that feeling, we're listening to it, gently. Welcome, to the sleeping mind at night, when the noise of the world finally fades and the constant hum of expectations, conversations, and responsibilities dissolves into the background, a different kind of sound begins to emerge, one that doesn't come from the outside but from somewhere far more intimate and ancient. It isn't loud, not in the way you've come to understand sound. It's not the ring of a phone or the murmur of voices. It's not the clatter of dishes or the dull roar of traffic. No, this sound is quieter, almost too quiet to notice unless you're still enough, alone enough, and open enough to feel it. It rises gently like fog curling along a forest floor, slow and soft, yet persistent. It's the sound of yourself, the quiet voice you've spent all day avoiding. All day you wear a version of yourself the world understands. A version with smiles, practiced nods, polite answers. You laugh at jokes that don't touch your heart. You carry conversations that drain you. You keep showing up. You do what you have to do, even when it costs you something deep inside. But when the lights go dim and the distractions lose their grip, that version of you steps back. And what's left is raw, quiet, real. That's when the ache begins, not suddenly or violently, but like a familiar guest knocking gently at your chest. It isn't pain in the way most people understand it. It's not dramatic. It doesn't scream. It doesn't break glass or spill over. It just sits with you. A slow, constant weight pressing just behind your ribs, reminding you that no matter how much you've managed to accomplish, something still feels missing. You know this feeling. You felt it before, in hotel rooms, on long drives, while staring at ceilings in rooms filled with people. It's not about loneliness, really. Sometimes you feel it even when you're surrounded. It's not about sadness either, not entirely. It's more like recognition. As if a deeper part of you is waking up after being quiet for too long. As if your soul is whispering, I'm still here. But that whisper is often drowned out during the day. Too many things demand your attention. You're busy surviving, keeping up, performing, and no one notices how tired your spirit really is. No one notices how much you carry. And that's the irony, isn't it? You're the strong one. The capable one. The one who seems okay. You hold space for others, solve problems, smile when you're breaking. You don't complain much. Maybe you don't even remember how. But at night, when the audience leaves and the stage is dark, you take off the costume. Not by choice, it just slips away. And underneath, there you are, bruised, quiet, real. Maybe it's in the way your chest tightens for no reason. Maybe it's in the way your thoughts begin to spiral, like waves hitting the same shore over and over. Maybe it's in that sudden memory that returns without warning, a conversation you wish had gone differently, a person you wish had stayed, a version of you that never got to live. All these pieces come back like ghosts you never buried properly. But you're not weak for feeling them. You're not broken for hearing that silence. You're human. So deeply, beautifully, painfully human. And the silence? It doesn't judge you. It just reflects you. It holds up a mirror, not to shame you, but to show you what still needs love. What still needs healing. What you've forgotten to care for inside yourself. Maybe that's why the silence hurts. Not because it's cruel, but because it's honest. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't distract you. It sits beside you and says, this is what you haven't dealt with yet. And that truth, though soft, is heavy. But maybe that heaviness is sacred. Maybe it's the beginning of something new. Because you can't heal what you don't allow yourself to feel. You can't comfort what you keep ignoring. So tonight, instead of running from it, What if you just stayed? What if, for once, you didn't reach for a screen or a song or a distraction? What if you let yourself sit in that silence and said, okay, I'm listening? What would your heart say back? What would your wounds tell you if they finally had a voice? Maybe they'd say they're tired of being denied. Maybe they'd say they've been waiting, not for anyone else to save you, but for you to turn inward. To see yourself not as broken, but as unfinished. Because you're not a failure. You're not too much. You're not weak. You're becoming. And becoming is messy. It requires nights like this, quiet, aching, reflective. Nights where nothing makes sense, but something shifts. Something lets go. Something softens. Maybe that's what this silence is for. Not punishment. But processing. A sacred space where you get to unravel without falling apart. A space where you don't have to perform or prove, just be. Just exist. And in that existence, maybe something beautiful begins. A slow thawing. A subtle clarity. A deeper breath. The kind that fills your lungs fully and tells your body, you're safe now. Safe to feel. Safe to grieve. Safe to rest. No deadlines. No roles. Just you, sitting with you. That's what this night is offering. Not sleep, exactly. But rest. A softer kind. The kind your spirit has been asking for. So if you feel broken tonight, don't resist it. Don't rush it. Let that feeling rise, like mist, and wrap around you. Let it speak in ways words cannot. Let it teach you what still hurts. Let it guide you to the parts of you that need holding. You don't need to fix anything right now. You just need to notice. Breathe. Be still. There is wisdom in this quiet ache. There is healing in this honesty. And most of all, there is you, beneath all the noise, the performance, the pretending. The real you. And that you deserves peace. There's something about darkness that feels more honest than daylight ever could. When the sun is high and the world is awake, everything feels like it has to be in motion, polished, productive, loud. The daylight demands action. You have to answer messages, hold conversations, fulfill tasks, wear the right expressions, speak at the right volume, and keep showing up, even when every part of you wants to hide. But when night falls, the performance ends. Darkness doesn't expect anything from you. It doesn't ask you to smile. It doesn't require answers. It doesn't rush you or hold a stopwatch. It simply arrives, gently, inevitably, like a quiet blanket draped across the noise of your day. And in that stillness, something shifts. Something deep inside you, that you tucked away without realizing, begins to stretch awake. It's subtle at first, the way you suddenly become aware of your own breathing. The way your heartbeat feels louder, not faster, just more noticeable. The way your thoughts begin to uncoil themselves without your permission. You may have gone through your whole day ignoring them, dismissing them, covering them up with jokes or busyness or scrolling. But in the quiet of night, when the noise of the world recedes, those thoughts return. Not like a flood. Not all at once. They arrive in soft waves. Curling at the edges of your consciousness, half memories, unspoken feelings, questions you never answered. A glance someone gave you. A word you heard in passing. A moment that stung but didn't seem big enough to name. You begin to remember things you didn't know you'd forgotten, the way you used to feel around someone you no longer talk to. The way a room felt when you were younger. The hopes you had when you were more innocent, more daring. And with every passing minute, the darkness begins to reveal more than it hides. Because unlike daylight, darkness doesn't distract you, it invites you inward. There's no spotlight on your appearance, no pressure to perform. Just you, and your thoughts, and the soft, sacred truth you carry inside. These truths are shy. They don't yell. They don't demand. They only rise when you stop resisting. When you stop running. And suddenly, you begin to feel the weight of all the things you told yourself didn't matter. That one friendship you let go of too easily. The compliment you never believed. The opportunity you missed because you were scared, and you told yourself it was nothing. But here, in this space where no one is watching, those things return not to haunt you, but to be held. Because the truth doesn't want to punish you. It wants to free you. But before it can do that, you have to see it. And seeing truth isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a sudden exhale you didn't know you were holding. Sometimes it's tears you don't fully understand. Sometimes it's just the soft, aching realization that you've been carrying something far longer than you needed to. The truth is, we all bury parts of ourselves to survive. We shrink our needs to keep peace. We silence our pain to stay strong. We fake confidence because vulnerability feels too dangerous. But none of those pieces disappear. They just wait. Inside you. Like unopened letters. And the darkness, this quiet, sacred night, it's the only space where those letters feel safe enough to be read. Maybe that's why some people fear the night. Because it sees them. Because it strips away the roles they've mastered and leaves only their soul, bare, honest, and fragile. But if you're brave enough to stay, to sit with the silence instead of running from it, you begin to understand something holy. You begin to realize that the truth inside you is not your enemy. It's your echo. It's your deepest knowing. It's the part of you that refused to disappear, even when you were pretending. Even when you forgot. It has waited patiently. And now, here it is, rising slowly in the dark, asking gently to be seen. Maybe it's telling you that you're not as fine as you appear. That your smile hides more than most people know. That your strength is beautiful, but exhausting. That you're tired of being the strong one. Maybe it's reminding you of a version of yourself you abandoned, the softer, dreamier, more open-hearted version. The one who used to write poems. Or laugh without watching the room. Or cry without apology. Maybe it's revealing wounds you told yourself didn't matter. Not because you wanted to ignore them, but because you had to. You were surviving. And survival sometimes means silence. But now you're here. And now the night is offering something else, not survival, but stillness. Not distraction, but reflection. Not fixing, but feeling. You don't need to solve everything tonight. You don't need to plan or process or perform. You just need to notice. To breathe. To listen. Because inside that quiet, inside the places you avoided all day, there is a kind of clarity that only comes when the world stops speaking. It doesn't come from outside advice or loud opinions. It comes from the pause between your thoughts. From the moment your breath softens. From the weight that lifts, not because anything changed, but because you finally acknowledged it. That's the truth the darkness holds. The truth that during the day gets buried beneath routine and responsibility. But at night, it rises like the moon, slow, glowing, undeniable. And maybe it doesn't say anything new. Maybe it just says, I'm here. And that's enough. That presence. That truth. That honesty. It doesn't need words. It just needs permission. Permission to be felt. To be heard. To be held. So tonight, hold it. Whatever comes up. The guilt. The regret. The quiet grief. The longing. The confusion. You don't need to fight it. Let it rise. Let it swirl. Let it rest beside you like a shadow you're no longer afraid of. Because the things we bury don't disappear, they wait for nightfall. They wait for softness. And now, in this moment, you are finally soft enough. Open enough. Still enough. To feel it all. And maybe, just maybe, that's the beginning of healing. You weren't always like this. Once upon a time, you were soft in ways you no longer allow yourself to be. You cried easily, not out of weakness, but because your heart was open, your feelings free. A single unkind word could break you. A forgotten promise could hurt. You were gentle with your pain, letting it be visible, letting it move through you like a wave. You didn't know then that one day you'd learn how to hold it all inside. That slowly, over years and experiences, the tears would dry up, not because the pain had disappeared, but because it had learned to settle deeper, quieter. What once made you sob now only makes you sigh. You say, "I'm fine," like it's muscle memory. You smile when your soul is sinking. You nod when you want to scream. And no one knows. No one sees the weight you carry. You've become so good at hiding it that even you forget it's there sometimes, until the quiet comes. Until the night settles in, and you're no longer surrounded by distractions, by people, by the constant movement that keeps the pain at bay. In that stillness, it returns, not as a loud crash, but as a soft ache. A tightness in your chest. A lump in your throat. A heavy silence that wraps itself around your thoughts and whispers, "You're still hurting." And maybe the hardest part is that it's not about one specific thing. It's not a sharp pain you can name or fix. It's the accumulation of little things. The disappointments you brushed off. The heartbreaks you minimized. The betrayals you forgave too easily. The moments you needed someone and no one came. The things you told yourself didn't matter, but they did. They built up quietly, like dust in the corners of your soul. And now they live there. Not loud. Not urgent. But always present. You've learned to carry them so skillfully, you don't even notice the weight until you're too tired to pretend. Until the night comes and strips away the performance. Until you lie in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling the dull ache behind your eyes. That ache you explain away as exhaustion, when really, it's sorrow. A sorrow that's been waiting for you to notice it again. But you've always been kind, even to your pain. You never wanted it to take up space, never wanted it to be inconvenient. So you wrapped it in politeness. You hid it behind busy. You dressed it in humor. And you kept moving forward, hoping one day it would dissolve. But pain doesn't work like that. Pain unacknowledged doesn't disappear, it grows roots. It becomes part of you. It lives in your body, your muscles, your breath. It shapes your reactions, your fears, your silence. You've spent so much of your life trying to be okay that you've forgotten what it feels like to be real. But the night remembers. The night holds your truth. And tonight, there's no one here to impress. No one to convince. No one to protect from your sadness. Tonight, you don't have to carry it quietly. You can let it breathe. Let it speak. Let it unfold. Maybe that means crying without needing a reason. Maybe it means sitting in silence and admitting, "This hurts more than I've allowed myself to feel." Maybe it means holding your own hand, not to fix anything, but simply to stay present. Because sometimes, healing isn't about changing anything. It's about witnessing what's real. It's about sitting with your pain the way you would sit with a friend, with gentleness, without trying to silence it, without trying to make it smaller. Tonight, your pain doesn't need to be productive. It doesn't need to be beautiful or poetic. It just needs permission. Permission to exist. To breathe. To soften. Because the pain you've learned to carry quietly, it's tired. It's tired of being ignored. It's tired of being smiled through. It's tired of pretending it's not there. And you're tired too, tired of holding so much without letting anyone see. Tired of waking up with a heaviness you can't explain. Tired of being the one who always holds it together. So tonight, don't hold it together. Let it fall apart. Not in a destructive way, but in a healing way. In a way that says, "I deserve to feel this." In a way that reminds your soul, you don't have to be strong all the time. Let the silence cradle you. Let the darkness wrap around you like a cocoon. Let your truth be soft again. You've carried this pain so far. You've done so well. You've survived things that would have broken someone else. But survival isn't the end of the story. You deserve more than that. You deserve peace. And peace begins with honesty. With whispering to yourself in the dark, "This still hurts." And trusting that you won't be undone by that truth. You'll be set free. Maybe not all at once. Maybe not tonight. But step by step. Breath by breath. Truth by truth. The pain you've carried doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. It means you've loved. It means you've tried. It means you've cared enough to be wounded. And that is a kind of beauty most people are too afraid to touch. But you've held it all with such grace. And now, it's time to let some of it go. Not because it didn't matter. But because it mattered too much. And it's heavy. And you're allowed to be light again. So breathe, softly. Close your eyes. Let this be the night you give your pain a voice. Let this be the night you stop apologizing for feeling. Let this be the night you finally say, "It's okay to not be okay." And believe it. They say that sleep is when everything slows down, when the body rests, the world fades away, and we finally find silence. But for you, and for so many others, the moment your head touches the pillow is the moment your mind begins to wake up. The day may have ended, the lights may be off, and the room may be still, but your thoughts don't get that memo. They rise like restless waves. Soft at first. Then louder. Then heavier. A replay of that one conversation you had 3 days ago. A moment from childhood, uninvited. The question you didn't ask. The words you wish you hadn't said. Guilt arrives like a whisper, it never yells. It just settles in, reminding you of things you thought you'd already forgiven yourself for. Regret shows up too, not to teach, but to loop, over and over, until the night feels too long and too short all at once. Your beautiful mind, the same one that solves problems, loves deeply, dreams wildly, it turns into a projector the moment the world quiets. It flashes images across the backs of your eyelids. What ifs? Should haves. Why did I say that? Will it ever get better? And even though you're tired, soul deep tired, your brain keeps pacing, like it's looking for something to fix, something to understand. It pulls threads from conversations, imagines new ones, rehearses apologies and arguments that may never come. You are not broken. This is what brilliant, sensitive, thoughtful minds do, they don't power off easily. They wander. They dig. They search for meaning in the dark. But tonight, maybe we can do something different. Maybe we don't need to silence the mind. Maybe we can sit beside it, gently, without judgment, and remind it that it doesn't need to hold everything all at once. That it can set things down, piece by piece. Not throw them away. Not erase them. Just, place them down. Because not every question needs to be answered tonight. Not every memory needs to be relived. Not every thought needs to be solved. Some things can be witnessed. Acknowledged. And gently released, like exhaling after a long breath you didn't know you were holding. You've spent your whole life thinking deeply. Feeling fully. Anticipating everything before it even happens. You are a planner, a protector, a processor. Your mind does not rest because it thinks rest means danger. That if it lets go, something will fall apart. That if it's not on guard, someone will hurt you. But you are safe now. You are not in that moment anymore. You are not back in the place that taught you to be hyper-aware. You are here. In this quiet space. In this bed that holds your weight. In this breath that rises and falls. You are allowed to rest. Not because everything is finished. Not because every problem is solved. But because you're human. And being human means you are worthy of rest, even with the questions still swirling. Even with the feelings unfinished. Even with the chaos unresolved. So let's speak to your mind now. Let's not fight it or scold it. Let's just let it know that it can soften. That the walls can come down. That the armor can be loosened. Gently. Slowly. You don't have to shut your thoughts off like a switch. That's not how healing works. That's not how this works. What we can do, is give those thoughts a softer place to land. Invite them in. Let them speak. And then let them pass. You are not your thoughts. You are the space they move through. You are the observer, the witness, the soul that listens with kindness. And your mind, that brilliant, sensitive, loving mind, it just wants to be heard. So listen. And then love it enough to say, it's okay. You've done enough for today. You don't have to carry this alone. You can rest now. Maybe the conversation you're replaying will go differently next time. Maybe it won't. Either way, you did your best with what you knew. Let that be enough for tonight. Maybe the thing you regret was a lesson. Maybe it was just a moment. Either way, you've grown since then. Let that be enough for tonight. Maybe the guilt you carry is wrapped around something you wish you could undo. But guilt isn't meant to be a punishment. It's meant to guide us, not destroy us. Let that be enough for tonight. You don't need to solve your whole life at 2 a.m. You don't need to rewrite the past or control the future. You only need to be here. In this moment. In this body. In this breath. Let your pillow be a friend, not a battleground. Let the sheets feel like safety, not like prison walls. Let this space become your sanctuary, not just for your body, but for your thoughts. You are allowed to close your eyes, even if your mind is still moving. You are allowed to feel restless, and still rest. You are allowed to feel afraid, and still feel safe. You are allowed to feel everything, and still begin to feel peace. Because peace isn't the absence of thought, it's the presence of gentleness. And you have gentleness within you. It's there, underneath the loops. Underneath the overthinking. Underneath the rehearsals and regrets and plans. It's the voice that says, you're okay. I'm here. You can let go now. So let go. Just a little. Let the thought float away like a feather on the wind. Let the memory soften like mist in the morning. Let the worry rest beside you like a child that's cried itself to sleep. You don't need to carry everything into tomorrow. You can pick it back up later, if it still matters. But for now, just be here. Breathe. In. Out. Slowly. Again. And again. Let this be your rhythm. Let this be your lullaby. If the thoughts return, and they might, you don't need to fight them. Just greet them kindly. Acknowledge them. And then say, not right now, love. I'm resting. And return to your breath. Return to the quiet. Return to the truth that you are safe. You are loved. You are not broken. You are simply tired. And tired things don't need fixing. They need rest. Deep, soul-softening rest. Let the stars keep watch tonight. Let the world turn without your help. Let your mind slow, not because it must, but because it can. Because it deserves to. Because you deserve to. Sleep doesn't mean failure. Sleep doesn't mean weakness. Sleep means trust. Trust in your body. Trust in time. Trust in life. And I know that's hard for a mind like yours, a mind that's always been asked to stay awake, stay alert, stay sharp. But you are no longer in that survival. You are no longer in that story. You are here. You are healing. And you are allowed to rest. So sleep now, sweet mind. Sleep now, brave heart. Sleep now, beautiful soul. You've done enough. You are enough. And everything else can wait until morning. There's a dream you've had more than once, you may not even realize it. Sometimes it begins in a house that doesn't quite belong to anyone, with doors that don't lead where they should. Sometimes it's a street from your childhood, except the trees are taller and the light is a little more golden than you remember. Sometimes it's someone's face, familiar but just out of reach, blurry like an old photograph left in the sun. But whatever form it takes, the feeling is always the same, longing. A soft ache stitched into the fabric of the dream. A sense that something is missing, something almost found, something that was once yours but slipped away. Dreams don't forget. They carry the versions of you that got lost somewhere along the way. The child who waited to be picked up after school and wasn't. The teenager who stood at the edge of a dance floor, heart pounding, but never stepped forward. The adult who smiled and said, "I'm fine," even when they were breaking. Dreams hold them all, not to haunt you, but to hold space for you. To remind you of who you've been, who you've wanted to be, and maybe, who you still are. You see, the conscious mind filters. It edits, it buries, it moves on. But the dreaming mind? The dreaming mind remembers. It remembers the promises you whispered to yourself late at night. I'll never let them hurt me again. I'll be different. I'll get out of here someday. It remembers the moments you were fully alive, the laugh that echoed through a summer night, the first time you felt seen, the quiet joy of dancing alone in your room. It remembers the turning points you never noticed at the time. The fork in the road you didn't know was a choice. The conversation that changed your life without you realizing. The goodbye you never got to say. Dreams hold those fragments, gently. They don't judge. They don't rush. They simply replay them in different clothes, different colors, different skies. A hallway becomes a forest. A parent becomes a stranger. A moment becomes a metaphor. Because your soul understands symbols better than sentences. Because sometimes the only way to face the past is sideways, wrapped in clouds and metaphor. And the dream, that strange and sacred place, it becomes a mirror. But not a mirror of what you are now. A mirror of everything that ever tried to make a home inside you. Every version of you that still lingers, waiting to be seen. Maybe you've dreamed of flying. Or falling. Of searching for something you can't quite name. Maybe you've dreamed of being back in school, or lost in a city, or late for something you can't prepare for. These aren't just random firings of a tired brain. They're stories your subconscious is trying to tell. They are pieces of you, unhealed, unspoken, unresolved, knocking on the door when the world finally goes quiet. They show up not to torment, but to be held. To be felt. To be remembered. And in those moments, your dream becomes more than sleep. It becomes time travel. Emotional archaeology. A soft excavation of your hidden truths. And what's most magical is that your dream never lies. It may confuse. It may distort. But it doesn't lie. It reflects what's true, even if you're not ready to face it. The recurring dream of the locked door? Maybe it's the opportunity you didn't take. The dream where your voice doesn't work? Maybe it's the thing you wish you had said. The faceless figure you keep chasing? Maybe it's a part of you, brave, bold, free, that you lost somewhere in trying to fit in. But here's the beauty, dreams don't just remember what hurt. They remember what healed. They bring you people you've lost, in forms softer than grief allows. They return you to places that felt like home, even if home is long gone. They show you, again and again, that the essence of what mattered never really left. It just lives differently now. Maybe deeper. Maybe quieter. Maybe inside you. And in those hours when you are still, when the world forgets you, your dreams remember you. Not the mask. Not the role. But the you beneath it all. The you who once believed in magic. The you who danced barefoot in the rain. The you who loved without armor. The you who wasn't afraid to cry, or hope, or begin again. That version of you isn't gone. It's just sleeping, waiting for permission to wake up again. And maybe, in the dream, it does. Maybe, in the dream, you walk through the door. You say the thing. You choose yourself. And even if it's only for a moment, it's enough. It leaves a mark. It softens something. It changes something. Because every dream plants a seed in your waking life. A whisper that says, there is more to you than what the world sees. You are still becoming. You are not too late. Tonight, when you drift off, don't fear the dreams. Don't resist the stories your mind wants to tell. Don't dismiss the scenes that feel strange or too tender. Go with them. Let them carry you. Float, don't fight. Let the dream unfold like a secret you forgot you knew. Let it speak the language of your soul. Let it take you where you need to go, not where you think you should be. And if you find yourself back in a memory, back in a moment that hurt, remember, you're not that person anymore. But you can go back for them. You can hold their hand. You can sit with their sadness. You can say, I'm here now. I've got you. Because healing doesn't always happen in the daylight. Sometimes it begins in a dream. In the space where time bends, and your heart is allowed to feel without interruption. And what if, just for tonight, you let yourself believe that your dreams know the way? That your sleeping mind isn't a distraction, but a compass. That what rises in the dark deserves your attention. That the longing you feel in the dream is your heart reminding you of what still matters. Of what still lives in you. Not to overwhelm you. But to reunite you with yourself. The truest self. The unedited self. The self that knows how to feel fully, love deeply, and trust gently. So when you close your eyes tonight, imagine that you're stepping into a story already in progress. A dream that has been waiting for you. Not to finish something, but to remember. To remember that you are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are not the choices you didn't make. You are the one who survived. The one who kept going. The one who still dreams. And that matters. More than you know. Because even when you forget your worth in waking life, your dreams don't. They remember every moment you needed more and didn't get it. Every time you deserved kindness and didn't receive it. Every time you were strong when you should have been comforted. And they bring those pieces back to you, again and again, like stars returning to the sky. So sleep now. Let the dream do its work. Let it gather the scattered parts of you. Let it sing back your forgotten songs. Let it remind you that you are whole, even in pieces. That you are healing, even in sleep. That you are remembered, even when you feel lost. Because the dream that remembers everything, it remembers for a reason. It's the soul's way of holding your truth when your heart is too tired. And tonight, it offers you its hand. Not to lead you forward. But to lead you home. Home to the parts of yourself you've missed. Home to the softness that still lives within you. Home to the you that still believes. And when the morning comes, you may not recall every detail. The names, the faces, the scenes may blur. But the feeling will remain. That quiet knowing. That peaceful ache. That whisper of memory. That longing not to escape, but to return. To yourself. To your soul. To the dream that remembers everything. There are words sitting at the base of your throat, not loud, not sharp, just waiting. Words that were crafted so perfectly in your mind, rehearsed 1,000 times in quiet moments, whispered in empty rooms, and then tucked away. Apologies you couldn't say because too much time had passed. Confessions you feared would change everything. Goodbyes you weren't ready to offer, or were never given the chance to. They sit in the corners of your memory, like soft ghosts, not angry, just unfinished. Words you didn't say because you thought there'd be more time. Because you didn't want to cause pain. Because you were scared of what they'd mean. You imagined how it would sound. You pictured the conversation. You felt the moment before it happened, but you never let it arrive. And so, they stayed inside you. Quiet. Patient. Echoing like a distant hum beneath every silence. Tonight, we are not here to blame you. We're not here to force those words into the world. We are here to feel them. To create a space, safe, sacred, and slow, where those words can rest. Where they don't have to be shouted or justified. Where they can simply be. You don't need to explain why you didn't speak. The world teaches us to be careful with our truths. To guard our hearts. To avoid discomfort. And so often, it feels easier to stay silent than to risk what might follow if we speak. Maybe you kept quiet to keep someone else comfortable. Maybe you stayed silent to keep the peace. Maybe you never found the right moment. Or maybe the moment was there, and you just froze. That's human. That's okay. Tonight isn't about regret. It's about release. Because those words you never said, they still deserve to be heard, even if only by you. Even if only now. In this stillness. In this moment where no one is asking anything from you. Where no one is interrupting. Where you can finally whisper what's been sitting in your chest for years. Close your eyes, and let the memory come back. Not to hurt you, but to hold you. Think of the person you wish you'd said it to. See their face, even if it's blurry. Remember the feeling, the tension in your stomach, the racing in your chest. That moment when your heart begged to speak, and your lips stayed closed. What would you say now, if the fear was gone? If the timing was perfect? If the only thing that mattered was truth? Maybe it's, I miss you. Maybe it's, I forgive you. Maybe it's, I wish I could have loved you better. Or, you hurt me more than you know. Maybe it's something as simple as, I needed you, and you weren't there. Let that sentence rise. Don't stop it. Don't fix it. Just feel it. Let the weight of the silence lift, one word at a time. This isn't about rewriting the past. It's about making peace with it. Because sometimes the wound isn't just what happened, it's what was never said. The closure you never got. The validation you never received. The truth you never spoke. And that doesn't mean you failed. It means you were protecting yourself in the best way you knew how. But now, you're stronger. Softer. Ready to feel without running. Tonight, your silence gets to rest. Your unsaid words get to breathe. And you get to be honest. Not with the world. Just with yourself. That's enough. Imagine your heart as a quiet room. The lights are low. The air is still. And every word you never said is sitting in that room, waiting to be noticed. Not judged. Not corrected. Just noticed. One by one, you walk to them. You look them in the eyes. And you listen. What do they say back? What do they need? Some will ask for release. Others will ask for closure. A few will simply want to be remembered. And as you stand in that quiet room within yourself, you realize, you don't need to carry all of them anymore. Some words were meant to be spoken. Some were meant to stay silent. And some were just meant to be felt. And that's what tonight is for. To feel. To stop performing strength, and simply be. You don't have to be okay right now. You don't have to know what comes next. You just have to allow the ache. The tenderness. The quiet longing. That moment when you say, I wish I had told them. Let the tears come if they do. Let the breath tremble. This is softness, not weakness. This is healing, not breaking. And as the minutes pass, and your body begins to slow, those words you never said begin to settle. Like feathers in still air. They no longer press. They no longer ache. They simply exist, as part of your story, no longer hidden. Because healing doesn't always mean saying everything out loud. Sometimes healing means letting go of the need to be heard, and choosing instead to hear yourself. To honor your silence. To hold your truth without needing it to be understood. You are allowed to carry things quietly. You are allowed to release things without a final conversation. You are allowed to move forward with peace, even if the past never made sense. Not everything needs a reply. Not every goodbye needs an echo. Some words simply need to be witnessed. And tonight, you are witnessing them. Let your breath be gentle now. Let your body soften. You are not in danger. You are not being asked to relive the pain. You are only being invited to make space. To hold the unsaid with kindness. To let those old words stop echoing. And if, by morning, you don't remember what you whispered in the dark, that's okay. Healing often happens without memory. What matters is that, tonight, your truth was welcomed. Your silence was seen. And your heart, your quiet, brave, beautiful heart, was heard. Sometimes, the moment ends, but the feeling doesn't. The breakup is long past. The person is gone. The goodbye was said, maybe even rehearsed, maybe whispered late at night or shouted through tears. The funeral ended, the door closed, the message was read and reread. Time moved forward. The world moved forward. But your heart? Your heart stayed behind. As if frozen in that moment, still holding on, still hoping for a different ending, still replaying a conversation that ended long ago. And that's not a flaw. That's not weakness. That's proof that your heart loved deeply, felt fully, and gave honestly. That's the kind of love that doesn't vanish just because the moment did. There's a quiet kind of grief that comes not from what happened, but from what lingers. The part of you that keeps checking the phone. That hears their voice in the silence. That walks by a certain place and suddenly feels it all again. You're not trying to hold on. You're not refusing to heal. It's just that your heart, that soft, devoted part of you, doesn't know how to stop caring simply because the story ended. It still remembers the way their eyes looked when they laughed. It still hears the rhythm of your life before it changed. It still aches at 2 a.m., when everything is still except the weight in your chest. And tonight, we are not rushing you. We are not telling your heart to hurry up and forget. We are simply making space. Space for the ache. Space for the slowness. Space for the truth that letting go is not one decision, but 1,000 small ones, made gently, over time. You see, healing doesn't follow the calendar. Closure doesn't arrive on schedule. And some things, we don't get over. We carry them. Differently. More quietly. With less pain, maybe, but still there. And that's okay. The world often tells us that moving on means forgetting. But your heart knows better. It doesn't want to forget, it wants to understand. It wants to make sense of the ending, to rewrite the moment, to ask questions that will never be answered. And when it can't do those things, it does the only thing it knows how to do, it remembers. It loops. It hopes. It aches. Not because it's broken, but because it's loyal. Because it believes in meaning. Because it's still holding a love that didn't get to finish the way it deserved to. Maybe you were left without explanation. Maybe you had to walk away when you didn't want to. Maybe life forced a goodbye when you still had more to say. And now, even in sleep, your heart replays it, wondering what you could have done differently, if there's still something left unsaid. You lie down to rest, and instead your mind opens doors you thought were closed. You see their smile. You feel their absence. You hear the silence they left behind. And in that moment, the loss becomes fresh again. But here's something your heart needs to hear: you are allowed to feel this. You are allowed to grieve something that ended long ago. You are allowed to carry the love, even when the person is gone. That love was real. That connection mattered. And just because the chapter closed doesn't mean the words disappear. Some feelings outlive the moment. Some hearts take longer to let go. And that's not because they're broken, it's because they're brave. Brave enough to care. Brave enough to trust. Brave enough to feel it all, the joy, the heartbreak, the goodbye. And now, brave enough to heal, slowly. To sit in the silence and let the pain soften. To stop asking why, and start asking, what now? To hold the memory gently, not as a wound, but as a part of your story. A part that shaped you. A part that taught you something about love, about loss, about yourself. Tonight, as you breathe slowly, as the world goes quiet, imagine your heart gently opening its hands. Not to let go completely. Just to loosen the grip. Just enough to rest. Just enough to say, I loved, and I lost, and that matters. You don't need to forget. You don't need to erase. You only need to allow the feeling to move, like a wave that rises and falls, not to drown you, but to wash you clean. With every breath, the weight gets a little lighter. With every heartbeat, the ache becomes a little less sharp. Maybe tomorrow it'll come back. Maybe next week, a song will bring it all rushing in. That's okay. That's part of the journey. Healing is not a line, it's a spiral. You'll revisit things. You'll feel old emotions in new ways. But you'll also grow. You'll also smile more easily. You'll also learn how to carry it without it carrying you. And maybe one day, without realizing it, you'll think of them and the ache won't grip you. It'll just sit beside you, quietly, like an old friend. You'll remember the love without the pain. You'll remember the moment without reliving the end. And you'll smile. Not because you've forgotten. But because you've made peace with remembering. So rest now, sweetheart. You've carried this long enough. Let tonight be soft. Let your breath be your comfort. Let this silence hold you, not as something empty, but as something sacred. A place where your heart can unfold. A place where the feeling can exist without judgment. A place where you don't have to be strong. Where you don't have to move on. Where you are allowed to simply be. You are still healing. And that's beautiful. You are still learning to let go. And that's powerful. And even though the story ended, your heart, that beautiful, loyal, loving heart, continues to write new pages. Pages filled with wisdom. With softness. With strength you didn't know you had. Pages that begin, once, I loved. And it changed me. And in the quiet of tonight, may your heart rest. Not because it's over. Not because it's forgotten. But because it's safe. Safe to feel. Safe to heal. Safe to be held, by this silence, by this moment, by the gentle truth, that the heart that outlived the moment is not broken. It's just learning a new rhythm. And tonight, it's learning how to sleep. There are nights where you feel like your mind is circling the same drain, not because you want it to, but because something inside refuses to let go. The same thoughts. The same worries. The same memories, showing up again like they never left. You try to distract yourself. You try to push them down. But they come back, quietly at first, then louder. It's not always pain. Sometimes it's just heaviness. A weight behind your ribs. A feeling you can't name, but one you know too well. Like your brain is stuck pressing replay on a scene you didn't write. A loop you didn't ask for. It happens when everything around you is still. When the world has gone quiet. When you're finally supposed to rest. That's when your thoughts begin pacing. That's when emotions, long buried, start rising. When your heart reminds you of the things you meant to forget. And your mind, beautiful, busy, endlessly searching, starts building stories again. What if? Why didn't I? I should've. I wish. Over and over. Round and round. A carousel of what was and what could have been. But tonight, we're not here to judge the loop. We're not here to fix it or force it away. We're here to sit with it. To soften it. To let it unravel, slowly, safely, gently. Because you are not your thoughts. You are not the storm inside your mind. You are the awareness underneath. The steady breath. The quiet observer. The one who knows this will pass. So take a breath with me. Not a perfect breath. Just a kind one. Inhale, slowly, like you're giving your body time to remember what calm feels like. And exhale. Like you're letting go of something that doesn't belong to you anymore. Let that rhythm guide you. Inhale, and let space open. Exhale, and let tension fall away. Again. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're just stuck in a rhythm that isn't yours. But tonight, with every breath, we'll help it change. You see, the loop lives in urgency. In fear. In the need to solve something before you can rest. But rest doesn't come after answers. Rest comes after surrender. After you allow the questions to stay unanswered, just for now. After you say, I don't have to figure this out tonight. After you remind your nervous system, it's okay to pause. You don't have to be alert right now. You don't have to overthink. There's no danger here. No deadline. No decision to make. Just this moment. Just this softness. So imagine your thoughts now, not as sharp edges, but as gentle waves. Each one rises. And then it falls. Each one comes. And then it goes. You don't need to stop them. You don't need to hold on to them. You only need to breathe. Let them pass like clouds in a slow, heavy sky. Some might return. That's okay. Loops don't break with force. They dissolve with compassion. And what's inside this loop? Maybe it's an old fear. A regret. A voice that still sounds like someone else. Maybe it's a version of you that still feels unsafe. Still feels unseen. Tonight, can we just notice that? Without changing it. Without fixing it. Just witness it. Say, I see you. To the part of you that's trying too hard. To the part of you still hurting. To the version of you caught in a memory. Because that's often what loops are, unprocessed emotion, asking for your attention. They're not enemies. They're echoes. Reminders. Signals that a part of you hasn't felt fully held. So tonight, instead of pushing it away, let's try something different. Let's offer that loop a place to rest. Let's tell it, you don't need to protect me tonight. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm tired. And it's okay to rest. Picture your mind now as a slow-moving river. The loop is just a fallen branch, caught in a swirl. But the river keeps flowing. The current keeps moving. And eventually, even the branch gets carried forward. That's what your breath is doing now, moving you gently forward. Carrying you out of the swirl. Back into presence. Back into peace. You might feel resistance. That's okay. You've been looping for a while. Your mind thinks that looping keeps you safe. That overthinking prevents pain. But tonight, you can teach it something new. You can show your mind that rest is also safety. That stillness is not danger. That peace is allowed. And maybe, just maybe, you begin to feel the shift. The thoughts are still there, but they're softer now. Less urgent. Like background noise you no longer have to turn up. Like a song you no longer need to dance to. You're still here. You're still breathing. But the loop is loosening. Inhale again. Deeper this time. As if you're breathing in quiet. And exhale, like you're releasing weight. Feel your body begin to melt into the bed. Shoulders down. Jaw soft. Hands resting. The loop may whisper, but your breath is louder now. Your body is the guide. It knows how to sleep. It remembers what rest feels like. Trust it. You don't need to untangle every thought before morning. You don't need to control the next dream. You don't even need to fully relax right now. You only need to allow. To surrender. To float. To fall into this space between wakefulness and dreaming, where your mind finally lets go, and your heart begins to heal, because you are healing, even now, even here, even in the loop. The loop is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that something mattered. That something hurt. That you are a feeling, remembering, deeply human being. And there is beauty in that. Even in the circling. Even in the ache. But now, you are choosing peace. You are choosing breath. You are choosing softness. And as the minutes pass, your body will follow. Your heartbeat will slow. Your thoughts will drift. The loop will fade into silence. And sleep will come, not as escape, but as arrival. Tonight, you are not alone in your loop. You are seen. You are safe. And you are slowly, gently, powerfully, free. Not all grief wears black. Not all grief cries in public. Some grief walks quietly beside you for years, unspoken, unnamed, misunderstood. It doesn't always come after a funeral. Sometimes it shows up after a conversation ends. After a decision is made. After a dream quietly disappears. And it doesn't scream, it lingers. Like a soft ache behind the ribs. Like a heaviness you can't place. Like the feeling that something is missing, even when everything looks fine. Maybe you've been grieving, and no one noticed. Maybe you didn't even notice. Because no one told you that grief could look like overthinking. Like snapping at someone for no reason. Like canceling plans you actually wanted to go to. Like needing space but not knowing why. Like staying up too late just to avoid your own thoughts. Like smiling on the outside while everything inside feels far away. Grief, real grief, is not always about someone dying. Sometimes it's about who you used to be. Who you hope to become. Who you never got to be. It's the job you didn't get. The love that didn't last. The life that turned out different. And while the world may not pause for these losses, your soul feels them. Deeply. Quietly. Tonight, you don't need to explain your grief. You don't need to justify it, you don't need to name it perfectly. You just need to breathe through it. One gentle breath in, and one slow breath out. That's it. That's all grief ever needed from you, space. Room to exist. A soft place to be acknowledged. You've been carrying so much. Not just the weight of what happened, but the weight of pretending you're okay. Of being strong. Of keeping busy. Of saying, I'm fine, when what you really mean is, I don't even know what I feel anymore. But here, in this space, in this silence, you don't have to hold it all together. You can fall apart, gently. You can admit it hurts. You can stop performing peace and actually begin to feel it. Because grief isn't linear. It doesn't follow the rules. It doesn't check the calendar. Some days you feel fine. Other days a song, a scent, or a memory knocks the breath out of you. And you think, I should be over this by now. But who said that? Who decided there's a timeline for healing? For letting go? For moving forward? The truth is, you don't move on from grief. You move with it. It becomes a part of your story, a soft, sacred thread woven into who you are. And it teaches you things, how deep your love goes. How resilient your soul is. How much you are willing to hope. It shapes you. It refines you. And eventually, it softens you. But tonight, it may still feel sharp. That's okay. Let it. Feel the weight of what you've lost. The weight of what you never got. The weight of the version of you who tried so hard. Let that grief sit beside you, not as a monster to battle, but as a companion, a quiet witness to your journey. It's not your enemy. It's your proof. That you lived. That you tried. That you loved. Breathe again. Slowly. Imagine your grief as a fog, thick, but not permanent. It rolls in without warning, but it will pass. And through it, you are still here. Still breathing. Still healing. Not perfectly. Not quickly. But honestly. And that is more than enough. Maybe no one asked how you're really doing. Maybe you stopped asking yourself. But right now, I'm asking. And I want you to answer, not with words, but with honesty. How do you feel? Tired? Numb? Sad for no clear reason? Let that be okay. Let it be human. Grief isn't always visible. Sometimes it hides in the background of our days. In missed texts. In quiet car rides. In eyes that look away just a little too fast. In laughter that feels a bit too forced. But the heart remembers. The body remembers. And eventually, we have to make space to let it through. So tonight, that's what we're doing. We're making space. For your quiet pain. For your invisible sorrow. For the goodbye that didn't feel complete. For the version of you that needed something you never got. No pressure. No rush. Just space. As your body sinks into the mattress, as your breath begins to slow, imagine laying down the grief you didn't know you were carrying. Picture it like a backpack you've worn for years, heavy, unspoken. Imagine setting it beside you now. Not throwing it away. Not pretending it never mattered. Just giving yourself permission to rest. Because you deserve rest. Not because the grief is gone. But because you are allowed to be soft. To be tired. To be undone. Grief doesn't go away when you ignore it. It softens when it's held. And tonight, I'm holding space with you. With every breath, let yourself feel a little lighter. Not because the pain disappeared, but because you are no longer holding it alone. Let the silence cradle you. Let the stillness be your sanctuary. You've spent so long being strong. Tonight, let yourself be gentle. Let the tears come, if they do. Let the numbness stay, if it must. Let whatever is true, be true. And slowly, as sleep begins to approach, remind yourself, I'm not broken. I'm grieving. And that is holy. That is human. That is healing. You are not alone in this. So many hearts are grieving things they can't explain. So many souls are carrying invisible stories. So many people have pain that doesn't look like pain. And in this collective quiet, we find connection. In this honest moment, we find peace. You don't have to be okay right now. You just have to be here. Breathing. Feeling. Existing. And trusting that even this moment of sorrow is moving you forward. That even this soft sadness is reshaping you into something whole. Grief will come and go. But so will peace. So will laughter. So will softness. You are not stuck. you are simply passing through a sacred valley. And tonight, you are allowed to pause. You are allowed to exhale. You are allowed to sleep. So close your eyes. Let your breath become the lullaby. Let your body find stillness. And know this, your grief is real. Your grief is valid. And your grief, even silent, even soft, matters. It does not make you weak. It makes you whole. Let the night hold you now. Let your soul unclench. Let your heart whisper, it's okay. I'm still here. I'm still healing. And tomorrow, the sun will rise. And you will rise, too. But tonight, dear one, you rest. There's always one. One memory. One moment. One echo in time that quietly altered the direction of everything that followed. Maybe you can name it. Maybe it's still blurry, not a scene, but a feeling. Something said, or left unsaid. Something done, or not done. And though the world kept moving forward, a part of you stayed there. Stuck. Quiet. Changed. You didn't know, back then, that it would matter this much. It felt small, maybe even forgettable. A single night. A single sentence. A glance. A silence. A goodbye. But somewhere deep inside you, it planted something. A belief. A fear. A decision. And over time, without even realizing it, that moment became a thread in everything. In how you love. How you trust. How you speak, or how you stay quiet. It shaped your defenses. Your dreams. Your way of disappearing when things get too loud. And tonight, in this stillness, we're going to revisit it. Not to relive it. Not to reopen the wound. But to sit with it gently. To offer it what it never had, presence, safety, and breath. Take a moment. Let your body soften. Let your breath find its rhythm. Inhale, as if you're making room. Exhale, like you're setting something down. Inhale again, slower this time. Exhale, as if letting go doesn't have to be dramatic, just honest. Now imagine yourself walking through your own mind. Through memory. Through years. Through spaces that were once full of noise, of color, of motion. Until you reach it, that moment. The one that changed everything. Don't force it. Don't rush it. Maybe it doesn't come with sharp images. Maybe it arrives as a shape, a color, a feeling in your chest. Trust it. However it shows up, that's enough. Where were you? How old were you? Who was there? What were you hoping for? And what did you lose? Sometimes it's a heartbreak. Sometimes a rejection. Sometimes it's the day you learned not to ask for help. Or the night you stopped believing someone would show up. It doesn't have to be traumatic to be transformative. Sometimes it's just the first time you felt alone, really alone. And from that moment on, something in you shifted. You built armor. Or you shrank. Or you started working harder than anyone else, to be enough, to be seen, to be safe. That's what memory does. It doesn't just record. It reprograms. Quietly. Permanently. Until one day you realize. I'm still living like that moment just happened. But tonight, you are not that version of you anymore. You're here. Breathing. Healing. Watching the memory, not from inside it, but beside it. You have grown since then. You have survived things you never thought you would. And now, you have something that version of you didn't, awareness. Compassion. Distance. Power. So look at the younger you, in that memory. See their eyes. Their confusion. Their hope. Their hurt. They didn't deserve what happened. They didn't know how to process it. But they made it through. You made it through. Say something to that version of you. Maybe, you're not broken. Or, it wasn't your fault. Or simply, I'm here now. Whatever the words are, speak them gently. Slowly. Like wrapping a bandage around something that's been open too long. Let the memory exist, not as a villain, not as a shadow, but as a chapter. Not the whole book. Just a chapter. It shaped you, yes. But it didn't destroy you. It was a moment, not a definition. A turning point, not a dead end. And maybe now, you can breathe a little deeper. Because when you sit with the pain, it doesn't grow, it softens. It begins to lose its grip. And the memory that once felt so sharp, starts to blur. Not into forgetfulness, but into forgiveness. Forgive yourself. For how long you held on to it. For the walls you built. For the ways you coped. You were doing your best with what you had. And now, you're doing better. You're healing. In quiet, powerful, beautiful ways. Your nervous system is learning that it doesn't have to stay in fight or flight anymore. Your mind is learning it doesn't have to replay the moment like a warning. Your heart is learning that not all endings are losses, some are beginnings. So, take one more look at that memory. Bless it for what it taught you. For who it helped you become. And then, slowly, gently, let it float away. Like a leaf on water. Like smoke in the wind. Like something that doesn't need to stay this close anymore. Now bring your attention back to your breath. Inhale, as the present enters. Exhale, as the past drifts. You are here. In this room. In this moment. Safe. Healing. Whole. Your memory changed you. But now, you're changing it. You're writing a new response. A softer ending. A quieter truth. One that says, I am not defined by a moment. I am not frozen in the past. I am not broken by one memory. I am more than that. I am everything I've learned since. And when you wake tomorrow, maybe something will feel different. Maybe your chest won't feel so heavy. Maybe the loop will slow. Maybe you'll look in the mirror and see someone a little softer. A little lighter. A little freer. You don't need to erase the past to make peace with it. You only need to meet it, like you did tonight. With breath. With stillness. With compassion. And now, it's time to sleep. To rest this beautiful, overthinking, deeply feeling mind. Let your body sink into softness. Let your thoughts grow quiet. Let your breath cradle you. The memory is resting too now, not forgotten, just no longer hurting you. Tonight, you are safe. You are healing. And you are enough. You've looked into mirrors before, countless times. Every morning. Every evening. Passing reflections in windows, screens, car mirrors, bathroom glass. But most days, it was only surface deep. You weren't really looking. Just adjusting. Fixing. Checking if everything was in place. Hair, skin, expression, appearance, the version of you that the world expects to see. Tonight, the mirror is different. Tonight, there's no rush. No audience. No pretending. Tonight, you pause. You sit. You breathe. And for the first time in a long time, you begin to truly see. Not your eyes, but the person behind them. Not your smile, but the ache beneath it. Not your face, but your soul. That tender, complicated, endlessly feeling version of you, the one you've hidden so well. We all hide. We all perform. We all curate who we are, editing for comfort, adjusting for acceptance. And over time, we forget what's real. We get so used to avoiding our reflection, our truth, that even silence becomes a distraction. Even solitude becomes noise. But the mirror is honest. Quietly, patiently, it waits. It doesn't rush. It doesn't judge. It just shows. It reflects not just your features, but your fatigue. Your longing. Your softness. Your strength. The version of you that has survived so much, yet still wonders if it's enough. Look closer. Do you remember who you were before the world told you who to be? Before the filters and feedback, the obligations and overthinking, before the heartbreaks, the doubts, the thousand small ways you learned to shrink yourself? That version is still there. Not lost, just hidden. Behind tired eyes. Behind practiced smiles. Behind years of carrying things silently. And tonight, that version steps forward. Not loudly. Not suddenly. Just gently. Like a whisper returning. Like a flicker of light in a long hallway. You may feel tears rise. That's okay. That's not weakness, that's recognition. You are meeting yourself again. The parts you buried. The dreams you folded up and tucked away. The fears you never spoke aloud. The hope that refused to die, even after everything. This isn't about blame. This isn't about judgment. This is about reunion. Coming home to yourself, without expectation, without apology. You don't have to perform peace here. You don't have to explain your silence. You are allowed to just be. Fully. Finally. Inhale slowly. Exhale softly. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your heart say, I'm tired, if that's true. Let your soul whisper, I miss who I used to be, if it must. Because mirrors don't lie, and right now, yours is showing you someone who has held too much, too long. Someone who deserves softness. Kindness. Rest. Do you see the sadness hiding behind your eyes? That's not something to fix. It's something to listen to. Do you notice the tightness in your smile? That's not failure. That's survival. Do you feel the heaviness in your chest? That's not weakness. That's proof you've been carrying too much for too many. And yet, here you are. Still breathing. Still showing up. Still hoping, even when you pretend not to. Look into your own eyes. Ask yourself what you need, not what you should need, not what others expect, but what your heart has been silently longing for. Maybe it's gentleness. Or forgiveness. Or permission to slow down. Or maybe, it's simply to be seen. Truly seen. Without interruption. Without performance. You've given so much of yourself to others. To roles. To responsibilities. To keeping the peace. And somewhere along the way, you stopped looking in the mirror with love. You began seeing a list of things to change. Fix. Improve. Erase. But tonight, see differently. See the tired hero who kept going. See the quiet soul who never stopped feeling. See the depth behind your gaze, the stories, the scars, the strength. Because this is who you are. Not perfect. Not polished. But profoundly, breathtakingly human. And maybe for the first time in a long time, that's enough. Let your reflection soften. Let the judgments fade. Let the list of not enoughs dissolve into stillness. You were never meant to be flawless. You were meant to be real. And that, right now, is more beautiful than anything else. This mirror doesn't ask you to change. It asks you to return. To remember. To reconnect. You're allowed to forgive yourself. For what you didn't know. For the boundaries you didn't set. For the love you gave to the wrong people. For the times you betrayed yourself to feel accepted. You were doing the best you could with what you had. And now, you're doing better. Look again. That's someone worth loving. That's someone worth staying with. That's someone who has more to offer this world than they've ever been told. Close your eyes if you need to. Keep breathing. Let the image remain, not the outer you, but the inner one. The soul-shaped truth. The heartbeat underneath all the pretending. You don't need to fix anything tonight. You just need to notice. To witness. To say, I see you. I'm sorry I've avoided you. I'm listening now. And maybe, that's all you ever really needed. Let the mirror fade now. Let the room darken. Let your body melt into your bed. The world outside can wait. Right now, it's just you and your breath. You and your softness. You and the reflection that lingers behind your eyelids. Let yourself rest. You are safe. You are seen. You are whole, even in your brokenness. And when you wake tomorrow, maybe the mirror will feel less like a stranger. Maybe you'll see not what needs fixing, but what needs holding. What needs loving. What needs light. Tonight, you met yourself again. And that, dear one, changes everything. Letting go doesn't always feel like some huge turning point, some dramatic release. Sometimes, it's not an explosion or a breakdown or a rush of tears. Sometimes, letting go is as simple and quiet as a single, deeper breath, the kind of breath you don't even realize you've been holding back all day. Tonight, as the world slows down around you, you are allowed to take that breath. You are allowed to let go, just a little. Not everything, not all at once. Just enough. Enough to feel a tiny ripple of peace within the chaos. Enough to feel your body gently unwind in the silence of this moment. You've been carrying so much lately. Thoughts you can't seem to quiet, memories that keep tugging at the corners of your heart, questions that don't have clear answers, and weight, so much invisible emotional weight. You've carried expectations, your own and others. You've held up masks, smiled when you didn't feel like smiling, stayed strong when all you wanted was to crumble into someone's arms and say, please hold me. You've pushed through, hoping the noise of the day would drown out the whispers inside you. But now it's night. And the night doesn't need you to be okay. It doesn't ask you to be anything. You don't have to impress the night. You don't have to convince it that you're fine. The night has seen what you try to hide. It has watched you quietly through your heaviest days. And it offers you this, space. Stillness. The soft chance to finally release, just a little. Letting go doesn't mean you've given up. It doesn't mean you've lost. It doesn't mean that what hurt you no longer matters. It simply means you've recognized that tonight, you can loosen your grip. You can give your heart a little room to breathe. You can give your soul a little space to rest. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to not have the energy to hold everything anymore. You are not weak for needing peace. You are not fragile for longing for softness. You are human. And in this moment, your only job is to rest. Let go of the belief that you must always be fixing something. Let go of the need to explain, to justify, to be strong all the time. Tonight, you don't need to solve anything. You don't need to perform healing. You just need to be. Just breathe. Let that breath move slowly. Let your shoulders drop. Let your body melt just a little deeper into where you are. You're safe here. Safe to feel. Safe to not feel. Safe to release. Safe to simply exist in your own skin without judgment. You've been so brave. But even the brave need rest. Even the brave need to fall apart gently, in the quiet, when no one is watching. There are things you haven't said. Worries you didn't voice. Fears you didn't share. Pain you thought you had to carry alone. But right now, in this stillness, you don't have to speak. You don't have to tell the story again. You don't have to relive anything. You just have to allow your breath to become your language. Let each inhale speak, I am here. Let each exhale say, I am allowed to let go. The world is so noisy. It's always asking something from you. Be more. Do more. Fix this. Plan that. But not now. Not here. In this place, under the softness of your own breath and the hush of night, the only sound is your heartbeat. The only expectation is rest. Let your mind wander, if it must. Let it bring forward the echoes and the flashbacks and the worries. But instead of holding on, just let them pass like clouds. You don't need to chase every thought. You don't need to believe every fear. Just let them float. Tonight is not a test. It's a release. You are not being graded on your peace. You are being invited to return to yourself. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe you're healing. Maybe you're still figuring out what it is you need. That's okay. Letting go doesn't require clarity. It doesn't require permission. It begins the moment you say, I don't want to carry this weight tonight. It begins the moment you trust the silence enough to stop trying to fill it. It begins when you realize that not every pain has to be understood in order to be laid down. Sometimes, letting go is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. Maybe you don't even know what exactly you're letting go of, just that it's heavy, and you're ready to feel light again. That's enough. You don't need the full map. You just need to take one small step toward peace. And you're doing that now, just by being here. Just by listening. Just by allowing these words to wrap around you like a soft blanket and say, you don't need to hold it all tonight. Notice your breath again. Inhale slowly, deeper this time. Exhale softly, longer this time. Feel the difference? That's the body remembering how to rest. That's the nervous system beginning to trust the quiet. That's your soul beginning to believe that safety is possible even in stillness. So much of life is survival. But you weren't meant to only survive. You were meant to feel. To breathe. To be soft. And softness begins with letting go. You're not losing control. You're inviting in peace. You're not abandoning responsibility. You're learning that you matter too. And sometimes, the most responsible thing you can do, is rest. Is breathe. Is honor your limits and your longings. Tonight, the stars shine for you. The darkness isn't empty, it's full of rest. The quiet isn't hollow, it's healing. And you, in this moment, are doing more than enough. Feel the bed beneath you. Feel how it holds your body, your weight, your story. You don't have to hold yourself up right now. Let it hold you. Let this silence carry what you've been carrying. Let it take the thoughts, the grief, the strain, and place them somewhere safe. They'll be there if you ever need them again. But for now, you don't. For now, you are free. Free to sleep. Free to soften. Free to be exactly where you are, with no pressure to be anywhere else. Letting go just a little doesn't require courage. It only asks for honesty. And you've already done that by arriving here. You've already done that by choosing rest over reaction, softness over struggle. Let this be your permission. To exhale. To close your eyes. Here. You are home here. Let yourself go. You've spent so long surviving that comfort feels like a stranger. Somewhere along the way, safety stopped being a feeling, it became a task. A place you had to reach, something you had to earn. You've learned to stay alert even in the quietest moments. You've trained yourself to stay ready, even when there's nothing chasing you anymore. Your body might be still, but your mind still scans the room, still revisits the past, still wonders when the peace will be interrupted. But tonight, it's different. Tonight, you are allowed to remember that safety was never supposed to be earned, it was always supposed to be yours. You were meant to feel calm without guilt. You were meant to lie in the dark and feel your muscles soften, not tense. You were meant to breathe slowly, freely, without that invisible pressure in your chest. You were not made to live in defense forever. And even if the world tried to teach you otherwise, even if your life made safety feel conditional, tonight, we unlearn that. Tonight, we come back to something deeper, the quiet, unquestioned truth that you deserve to feel safe. Right now, in this moment, you don't have to fight anything. You don't have to solve, explain, or prepare. This moment doesn't need a plan. It only needs your presence. Just you. Just your breath. Just your body, tired, honest, and completely welcome as it is. Take a breath now, slowly. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Not to fix anything. Just to feel. Just to soften the grip you didn't know you still had on your thoughts. Feel your jaw unclench. Let your shoulders drop. Let the weight you've been carrying slip just a little from your spine. The world can wait. All of it, the noise, the lists, the unanswered messages. Here, in this soft space, there is no urgency. There is only rest. And it doesn't ask for anything in return. You are safe here. Not because everything is perfect. Not because every question has been answered. But because, for once, you're allowed to stop pretending. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to let your guard down. The stories you've lived, the hard ones, the heavy ones, they shaped you, yes. But they don't have to own you. They don't have to run the show forever. You don't have to keep rehearsing the worst outcomes just to feel prepared. You don't have to keep overthinking just to stay ahead of pain. You've already done the hard part, you survived. But tonight is not about surviving. Tonight is about remembering what it feels like to live, without flinching. Think back. There was a version of you, maybe years ago, maybe as a child, who didn't know how to scan every moment for danger. Who believed in rest without guilt. Who could fall asleep without racing thoughts or tight shoulders. That version of you is still in there, somewhere under all the armor. And maybe tonight, just for a little while, they get to return. Not in full, not with perfection, just in flickers. In the way your breath slows without force. In the way your body begins to melt into the mattress. In the way your heart, so used to bracing, begins to beat a little softer. Safety isn't a luxury. It's not a reward. It's not something only certain people get to feel. It's something we all need. And you, yes you, deserve it. No matter what happened. No matter how long it's been. No matter how strong you've had to be. You deserve comfort without earning it. You deserve to exhale without fear creeping in. You deserve to be held, by peace, by stillness, by this gentle moment that asks nothing from you. Tonight, there is no need to revisit the past. No need to prepare for tomorrow. Everything you need is already here. The sound of your breath. The steady beat of your heart. The quiet around you that's not empty, it's full of warmth. Full of softness. Full of safety. Let your thoughts drift. Let your body settle. Let your soul remember that home isn't always a place, sometimes, it's a feeling. And you're allowed to feel at home inside yourself. Even if it's been a while. You may not know how to rest completely. That's okay. You don't have to get it right. There is no right way to feel peace. Just begin with now. With this inhale. With this gentle, invisible letting go. Let the comfort wash over you slowly. Let it move through your chest, your arms, your legs, like warm water. You don't have to chase it. It's already here. You're already in it. Breathe. Rest. Trust that nothing is expected from you. You are enough, without effort, without performance, without proving anything. If the worries try to sneak in, let them pass like clouds across the night sky. You don't need to hold them right now. If your mind tries to pull you back into loops, gently remind it, not now. Not here. This is a space for softness. This is a night for remembering the safety you forgot you deserved. No matter how long it's been, you're allowed to feel peace again. Even if it's small. Even if it's just for a moment. That moment matters. It heals in quiet ways. It rebuilds you, breath by breath. So close your eyes now, if you haven't already. Let the darkness be kind. Let it cradle your thoughts. You are safe, in this space, in this story, in this body that's carried so much. You are safe, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. Let the stillness tell you what words can't. Let the quiet prove what the chaos tried to make you forget. You are safe. You always were. And tonight, you get to feel it again. Close your eyes. Just for a moment. Now, listen. Not to the sounds outside. Not even to the thoughts inside. But to something softer, the space between them. That quiet flicker, that gentle pause before one thought ends and the next begins, that's where your healing lives. That space, so often overlooked, so easy to miss in the rush of thinking, is sacred. It doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't ask for answers. It doesn't expect clarity or logic or perfection. It simply exists, still, steady, always there, like the night sky between stars. You don't have to be brilliant right now. You don't have to solve your life in one sitting. You've done enough thinking today. And now, you get to float. Let this be your moment to drift, to breathe, to trust that the silence will not swallow you, it will soothe you. You are safe here. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply tired. And in this quiet between the noise, your nervous system exhales. Your heart loosens its grip. Your soul, which has whispered for rest so many times before, finally begins to feel heard. Thought after thought may still come, and that's okay. Don't fight them. Don't chase them. Just let them come and go like waves. But between them, feel that pause, that soft blankness, and know that you are floating in something beautiful. You are floating in presence. You are being held by a moment that asks nothing from you but to exist. You don't need to control this. You don't need to stay sharp or stay ahead. The world can keep spinning without you solving everything tonight. You are not responsible for fixing what has not yet happened. All that's real right now is this moment. This breath. This warmth in your chest as your body begins to soften. And when another thought knocks on the door, gently acknowledge it, then let it pass. Watch it go. And sink again into the space that follows. There's wisdom in the pause. There's truth in the quiet. Between thoughts is where the body starts to heal. Where the mind stops trying to prove itself. Where you remember that peace is not the absence of problems, it's the absence of pressure. And you don't need pressure tonight. You need softness. You need kindness. And you are allowed to give it to yourself. You've carried so many expectations, the shoulds, the what-ifs, the whens. But here in this pause, they lose their weight. They don't disappear. They just don't matter as much. You are not your overthinking. You are not your unfinished plans. You are not your mistakes. You are something deeper, the awareness beneath it all. The calm behind the chaos. And you're allowed to live there, even if just for tonight. Let your breathing be your anchor. Slow, gentle, steady. If thoughts come, don't judge them. Don't judge yourself. They're just clouds passing through your sky. You don't have to chase every cloud. You can lie back and watch them float. You can rest in the sky itself, the space between. You're doing it already. Right now. That flicker of stillness between words, that soft sigh inside your chest, that's you, returning home. To yourself. To a self that's not always thinking, fixing, striving, but just being. Just breathing. Just alive in this breath and nothing more. And maybe you didn't know that this space existed. Maybe you thought silence was something to fear. But it's not. It's your sanctuary. It's the cradle of all clarity. The garden where peace grows wild. Not because you worked for it, but because you finally stopped pulling the weeds. The truth is, you don't have to do anything right now. Not even heal. You just have to rest. Let the night do what the day could not. Let it calm you, carry you, cleanse you. Let it remind you that your worth has never been in your productivity, but in your presence. So as you lie here, know this, you are safe. You are not being judged. You are not falling behind. You are in exactly the right place, the pause. The space between thoughts. The breath between stories. The calm between storms. This is where life begins to feel soft again. This is where you remember how to just be. Breathe in gently, hold it for a second, now exhale slowly. That moment, right there, between the breath in and the breath out, feel it? That's the space we're talking about. That's where the tension breaks. That's where the body unwinds. That's where the spirit settles into itself. You can live in that space tonight. You don't have to travel far. You don't need noise, or distraction, or explanation. You only need stillness. And the willingness to trust that it's okay to do nothing. It's okay to simply let go. Let go of the day. Let go of the roles you had to play. Let go of the weight you picked up that was never yours. Let go of the thoughts that try to convince you that you're not enough. You are enough. Even without another thought. Even without another plan. Even without another answer. You are enough, simply floating here in the space between. And if you fall asleep tonight with nothing figured out, that's okay too. You don't need a conclusion. You don't need a breakthrough. Rest is the revelation. Rest is the reward. And it's waiting for you now, just on the other side of that thought. Let it pass. Feel the silence. And let yourself be carried. You made it. Through the thoughts. Through the weight. Through the quiet ache you didn't speak aloud. You made it through the night, and that alone is something to honor. Not everyone sees the strength in lying still. Not everyone notices the courage it takes to sit with your own thoughts, to feel the ache behind your ribs and still choose to breathe softly instead of screaming. But you did. You stayed. And somewhere, quietly, without announcement or fanfare, a new morning is waiting for you. It doesn't need you to be ready. It doesn't need you to show up with a plan. It will arrive just the same, gentle, golden, patient. And it will hold you like the night just held you now. But for now, you don't have to reach for it yet. You don't have to think about what's next, or what comes after this. Stay here a little longer. Here, in this soft moment. In this breath. Wrapped in the quiet that's been so rare. Wrapped in the space that finally asked nothing from you. No expectations. No noise. No fixing. Just rest. Just being. You don't need to explain how tired you've been. Your body already knows. Your heart already understands. It's been carrying so much, not just today, but for weeks, for months, maybe even for years. And still, it beat for you. Quietly, faithfully, through the moments when your spirit felt heavy. Through the nights that didn't offer peace. Through the dreams that left you even more tired. Through it all, your heart stayed. And so did you. That morning you're headed to? It's not rushing you. It's not a race. It's just there, holding space for you. Holding hope for you. It brings new chances. Not grand, loud, dramatic ones, but the soft kind. A second cup of tea. A slow walk. A breath of fresh air you didn't know you needed. The chance to begin again, gently. To choose rest before reaction. To offer yourself the kindness you've always given others. The morning knows how hard your nights can be. And it waits, patiently, not for the perfect version of you, but for the real one. The version that may still be healing. The version that's still figuring things out. The version that got through one more night, without needing to be fixed. Because the truth is, your brokenness never defined you. The cracks? The wounds? The heaviness? They were never your full story. What defined you was how you kept going, not always fast, not always strong, but forward, somehow. Through sighs. Through silence. Through sleep that felt more like escape than rest. But you made it. And tonight, in this sacred moment between dark and light, your soul remembers that you don't need to earn tomorrow. You only need to rest for it. So let yourself sink. Let the last thoughts fade into the distance. Let your body melt just a little deeper into the surface beneath you. You're not falling apart. You're falling into yourself. Into the softness that was always yours, beneath the armor, beneath the performance, beneath the noise. Let it hold you. Let it remind you that you are allowed to pause. To feel. To rest. The world will wake up soon. The light will stretch across your windows. The noise will return. But for now, there's only this, the gentle exhale of the universe telling you it's okay. It's okay to let go. It's okay to not be strong. It's okay to just be. Not for anyone else. Not to be seen. Just because you are worthy of stillness. Just because you have made it through, again. And when you do rise, later, when your body is ready, let that morning meet you like an old friend. Let it find you soft. Not because you're weak, but because you've survived enough. Because you know now that peace isn't a reward for getting it all right, it's your birthright. And this night, this breath, this quiet moment, they're all part of that peace. Let your eyes grow heavier now. Let your chest rise and fall like a tide that needs no effort. Let the echoes of the day dissolve into this silence. There is nothing left to do. Nothing left to prove. You've done enough. You are enough. And the morning will be there when you're ready. But for now, stay. Stay here. Rest here. Heal here. The way you kept going, that's who you are. Not your fears. Not your failures. Not your what-ifs. But your resilience. Your breath. Your quiet bravery. And that deserves this moment. This rest. This softness. Let it hold you. Let yourself receive it. Because sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for your future, is to rest fully in the present. And tonight, you are allowed.